What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode on the Turbo GU Ute. Now, I've been away for the past couple of days, so I have missed a few things, so there has been a little bit of progress going on. So you can see Rex has been smacking out, finished these manifolds, and also finished all of the heat shields for the manifolds. Now, we know that these aren't obviously the prettiest things, but this is not a show car. This is a turbo V8 four-wheel drive that needs to be reliable, and as we've talked about, it's much nicer to have things reliable and serviceable and not affected by the heat than it is to try and sacrifice those sorts of things for the beauty of it. So perhaps not the prettiest things around, but honestly, once it's all covered up and everything's in here, you're hardly going to notice it. And if they keep our plug boots and our plug leads safe, well, then that's the main thing, and that's the main thing that matters about them. So happy days. We talked in the last episode about how I really wanted to get these manifolds actually properly ceramic coated by Kalula Sandblasting and Coatings. I haven't heard back from them yet as to whether they could do it before Christmas. Time's getting very, very short. The pressure's on really to try and get this done in the time frame we've got. So I spoke to the owner. He's pretty happy to get us just to do our regular ceramic paint and bake like we did with the last one. He has no plans to do any beach work in it anytime soon, and he's happy enough to remove the manifolds himself in the new year and get them coated if it comes to it, if he wants to do that. But he'd rather not have us hold up the build just for the ceramic coating, so we're not going to. So that's not happening at this point. So moving along, and Rex has got a fair whack going on this dump pipe. It's pretty sorted. We dummied up our AC fittings and stuff to figure out where the dump pipe was going to go, and Rex has smashed out the dump pipe now. Obviously with the oval tube, pretty much all you can do is pie cut, so it ends up being a lot of welding. So this is pretty much Rex's entire day today, is just welding up this dump pipe, welding it out. A lot of time, but it just is what it is. It just is what it is, guys. So anyway, this will hopefully move along pretty quick because, like I said, we are running short of time. It's getting pretty stressy. We've got to move house next week. It's getting very short of time for this, as well as the HQ here. So yeah, we're going.
It's just really good. I like it.
Really good exhaust?
Yeah, I think it's the best one I've made so far.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, I'm especially I was really careful with these sections from here because they're very visible, because of this tray and everything, but all these welds came up really nice.
Yep.
Everything's really good. Having said, there's only a couple of spots under here even that weren't the best, which is mostly to do with, yeah, it was just this cap. It joins the pipe because it's not a very tight join. So that was pretty shit, but
anyway, guys,
I'm really happy.
Still got a flexi to put in the gate plumb back, which is still on the way, but that will just get a flexi in here, so it allows obviously for expansion and things like that. We normally try and put our flexi in the dump pipe, and the idea is to stop anything that may happen to the exhaust getting hit or anything from transferring all that stress up into the manifolds in the turbo area. But obviously given the oval and the transitions and everything, there's just not room to put it in the dump pipe properly in these things. So we put it back here. It's still as close to the dump as we can get it, and still allows a lot for a thermal expansion and everything else and things moving around, which helps still, but it's just where it is. But anyway, that's the exhaust. We've got high flow cat. So by here, so it's 3.5 inch, it's 3 inch out of the turbo, it goes directly to 3.5 inch to oval, and then it goes back to 3.5 round, and then this is straight up to 4 inch to a 4 inch flexi, 4 inch cat, high flow cat. And then we've got another V-band, obviously our high flow muffler. And then for this one, instead of dumping it at the diff, this owner does plan on doing quite a lot of touring and long highway driving, so it's been extended all the way out to the back of the car. So as you can see, up and over, all of the important things, and just a nice little exit out the side here at the back of the tray. Plenty of room up there, and Rex was saying as well that all of the exhaust mounts and hangers are all on the chassis. Nothing's hung or mounted to the tray, which just makes it that much easier if you want to pull the tray off to swap tray setups. You know, if you've got like a canopy setup that you just jack up on and off, you don't have to worry about the exhaust at all, which is the go. So that's the idea there, but the exhaust has come out really well. Rex is very happy with it. Looks awesome. So much like the last one, guys, 4 inch is a little bit overkill. 4 inch is not particularly necessary. 3.5 inch would be fine for the power that we want to make, but unfortunately, at the moment, 3.5 inch material is just super hard to get. It's really hard to get cats, mufflers, even pipe and bends and stuff at the moment. So that's why we ended up with 4 inch for this one, as well as the last turbo 4 drive, just because it was easier to get 4 inch than it was 3.5, not necessarily because it required a 4 inch. But anyway, excited to hear this thing. I think it's gonna sound sick. The last one sounded awesome, so pretty keen on it. Yeehaw, let's get it. Bit more cracking along here. So like the last one, we've decided to modify the stock diesel hanger for the tank instead of actually get an EFI hanger. So an EFI hanger, depending on where you buy them from, they're anywhere from like $400 to $500 just for like a TB48 EFI hanger, which is quite expensive. So for the sake of this literally just being a lift pump, as you can see, do the same thing as the last one here. There's some new terminals, new posts for the power to the pump, which obviously the stock wiring doesn't have because this is just a suction cap. There's no actual internal pump from factory. And then the internal pump is just hose clamped to the factory return and the factory feed, which was now becoming the factory return. And then we have our new feed, which Rex has welded on there with an AN fitting, some submersible line.
So that's the end of the feed line that I cut off
to weld AN6 on it.
Our AN6 on, and it's perfect because it's already flared and stuff. I welded that into the bottom of that nut, or fitting, sorry, and weld that in the top, so it's all nice, it's good.
So that's just a modified diesel hanger, still incorporates the sender as well as the switch. So this is actually a switch to switch off the transfer pump once the fuel in the main tank reaches this point, which is also fairly important, otherwise you end up with potentially a transfer pump that just keeps on going. So
anyone wondering, I've wrapped this wire around there for a reason. It's because I had to join these two wires. I had to put marks in them. I still don't trust this DR25, and I know someone said in the comments that it's not rated for petrol. But so the reason I've run them that way is because no matter what happens, even if that completely disintegrates, there's no way for those two wires to ever touch and short out. And this is around the rubber, so there's nothing it can. There's no issue. It shouldn't cause an issue.
So anyway, we're using a Raceworks
engraved in the top. Yep, so positive, negative, feed and return, so that if you ever
just bung the old return there.
Yeah, that's just a cap.
So yeah, we're using a Raceworks 340 LPH. So this is the EFP 500 part number for a lift pump. And then the customer has supplied the Walbro 460, which we'll use in the actual surge tank for the actual feed for the car. So that's how it all works out. So that's just a way to save yourself a couple of dollars. Not to mention that these bulkhead terminals, wiring terminals, are much, much better for the sort of current draw that these EFI pumps draw than the stock Nissan ones are in the EFI hangers. So personally, I reckon it's a much better way to go. Even if you're using a stock Nissan EFI hanger, these would be a really good idea. But hey, if you've got the know-how and the means to do it, this is a really nice and cheap way to go. So this here is also the frame that Rex has built to house our surge tank, as well as our filter and our regulator. So all of it mounts really nicely and conveniently on this one mount, which is, you know, nice and accessible through this little guard here if you need to get anything. Filter's cleanable and reusable, which is awesome. And we're going to try and do as much of this out of hardline as we can. So these, you would have seen these in a lot of our builds of late. They're really, really good little units. So they're about 2 litres.
More than that.
More than 2?
2.5, I think, or 2.8, something like that.
It's a really nice little size, and as you can see, they come with a hanger with nice big bulkheads rated for big amperage to run a big pump. They house a pump internally, which we really like for a few reasons. Firstly, the pump's in the fuel, which keeps it nice and cool. But secondly is being internal, it's actually nice and quiet. It's not super duper loud. A lot of these pumps and stuff, they're, you know, external pumps, 044s and that, they're freaking loud. And in a street car or something you want to do a heap of touring in, it can be very, very frustrating. So we really, really like having them in the Surge. It's a really good idea. And we use these in just about all of our builds that need a Surge tank. So handy little bits of gear. So that's more or less a fuel system, guys. What Rex has built there, plus the modifications to the hanger. But all of the gauges for the fuel levels and everything will work as factory. Still uses the factory transfer pump. We were worried at the beginning when we first started doing these conversions about those factory pumps going with petrol, because obviously they're designed for diesel, and diesels are much wetter. Yeah, I know that's a really counterintuitive thing to say for literally a liquid, but petrol is actually a very dry liquid. That doesn't sound right, but it's true. Petrol's a lot drier than diesel is, therefore usually the pumps, like a diesel pump, will be designed to operate with diesel because it's a lot oilier, like Rex is saying. It's sort of a lot better lubricant than petrol is. But we've done plenty of these conversions now, just using the factory transfer pumps, and they're always fine. We've never had an issue, so we're pretty happy to just keep using them. But yeah, it means that factory switch for the transfer pump works and all of that stuff works. It just is the best and cheapest way to do it. So, and then it's deadhead up to the rail like it would be from factory. And then we've got our 1000cc injectors to go in this thing, and happy days. So yesterday the owner brought out the last little bit of the engine loom, which is actually the fuse box and all of the integration side that we need for the car. So this is all done by Rewire at Cunda Park, as well as the engine loom. So we can finally get this in the car. So the last thing was we needed a factory TD42 gearbox loom, because the owner actually let the loom go when he sold the engine. But he managed to get hold of another one, which will be coming out tomorrow. And then we should have all the wiring that we need to basically get this car finished. So as well as obviously just the stock factory PCM being integrated into the Patrol. You guys have seen us do it before. We get the factory tacho working, factory speedo still works out of the transfer case speed sensor. We get the factory water temp and the factory oil pressure sensors working so that everything on the cluster works. Now, as well as that, as you saw, we got the Defi to go in. And as well as that, just same as the last one, an eBoost Street 40, which is just the best value for money, reliable boost controller on the market. Really, really handy bit of kit. So we'll put one of those in this thing as well, so that we've got high-low boost, just like the last one. But yeah, that's essentially the recipe for a lot of these, is Gen 3 PCM, one of those Defi copies, get the factory stuff working on the dash and whack an e-boost in it and you're good to go. Anyway, guys, so I've got to get going. We got to move. I've got to go away for a week. It's going to be nearly Christmas by the time we get back, and then we've got to move again. So there's a fair bit going on. I'm not going to be around. So Rex is going to stay here and pretty much keep cracking along with this. So as you can see, that's how the fuel system is going to come together. And then obviously there's going to be a fair bit of time in getting the wiring in the car and integrated and stuff. So a lot of that time is going to be spent this week with Rex, which, you know, I'm going to miss on camera, but hopefully you've got a pretty good idea. And obviously when I get back, we'll go through all of the progress that's happened in that time. But as you've seen, most of the fab work, a lot of the important stuff you've got to see as it's happened. As you can see, I've got an intercooler here. Rex has just got to do the intercooler piping and then the radiator and rad piping. And that's more or less all the fab done. And that's happy days from there. And hopefully we see some good results for this thing in the next episode. So thanks for watching as always, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you don't miss anything, and head to the merch store and check out the merch and see what we're doing as far as a giveaway for the next couple of months. It's pretty exciting stuff. Go check it out. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out. See you. Bye. What's going on, guys? We've got new merch out. New merch has landed. Super excited about these new designs. We got Team No Drift. In jack stands we trust. These are sick, and that's because it's a bit of an ongoing joke that Rex and I's drift cars may never get finished. We've got ourselves a new V80 shirt. Awesome attention to detail in this design. There is no mistaking that that is V80. Wicked shirt. Time to hit the road, get around it, This one, super excited about this one being a tuner. You guys have been asking for It Is What It Is shirts for a long time, so we've got It Is What It Is there on the pocket logo, but check that out. Keyboard Warrior, as you can see, tuning laptop, absolutely stoked with this design. Tuners will get it, even people who aren't tuners, you'll get it, get around it, awesome shirt. We've got ourselves another new R31 shirt. Bit of homage to the R31s of the channel that sort of got us to where we are today. So all 3 R31s that were built on the channel, my old 31, Liam's old 31, Rex's old 31. We've even got Lep Lab on the old plate on Liam's one. Bit of throwback. OGs will know. We've still got some older designs available on the website. We've got our Drift for Range shirt. That's me and Rex in Ratfink in the LS Sylvia on the back there. Absolutely wicked shirt. We've still got Send 'Em to Heaven, also available in long sleeves. These new designs are not available in long sleeves or hoodies at this point because it is coming into the start of summer here. But if you want long sleeves or hoodies, drop a comment. I'll try and make it happen. We've got old school Let Labs OG shirts still available. Old school OG 31 shirt. If you're about that, get around it. They're still on there. Got some other older boostgumps shirts, pink bits. That is a really cool design. And we've got our old Ratfink shirt there as well. That's a sick shirt too. And the OG plain logo boostgumps logo shirt. If you just want something a bit more plain, get around it, guys. New merch out. There's going to be a lot more coming, and we are giving away a car. We are giving away a turbo diesel 80 series Land Cruiser to one lucky person who buys merch. Head to the website www.boostgumps.com, check the terms and conditions and ensure you are eligible to win, and get yourself some new merch, some new hot clothes, and you may just win yourself a pretty well set up for touring turbo diesel 80 series Land Cruiser. Don't get caught with your pants down wearing these shirts like a fool. Get yourself a cool shirt and win yourself a car. Go on, go get it, get around it.